Tomitake-san carefully studied the bear. Setting his sights, he shouldered the rifle while holding the other 2 shots in his hand. Why is he doing that? Yes, no doubt. Tomitake-san is aiming for the bear. The time between shots was short. It was meaningless to shoot again once it stopped shaking. So Tomitake-san was relying on rapid fire to win the battle. It was visibly wobbling much more than it ever had before. But that was all. It still didn't fall over. Aw, too bad. All of Rena's momentary expectations from watching it sway violently turned into a dejected sigh. I really thought it would work. Ho ho ho. Seems that since you're a man, you will not be receiving any candy. That was it. Tomitake-san had no spoils of war. So both Kei-chan and Rika-chan can just shoot down a small easy prize and avoid being dead last. Avoid being the loser, huh? Oh, sorry about that. It's your turn, Keiichi-kun. Best of luck. It was the 5th shooter. I took the rifle from Tomitake-san. If I took the ruthless route as Mihun had suggested, then I'd go for a small target. Except, when I picked up the rifle, I definitely got a feeling from it. It was burning with passion. Passed down to me by Tomitake-san. The regret of not being man enough to fell the bear that Rena wanted. Yeah, that's right. If I didn't aim for that bear, then I wouldn't be a man. After all, that was my promise. To Rena. Huh? What promise? What? To shoot down that bear. Then give it to Rena, that one. You mean... The crowd went wild when they saw our conversation. Whoa! Cool, One-chan! You got balls, man! That's not it. Fine men of the crowd. If I didn't do this, then Rena might mug the old man running the store on his way home. No, that's not it. That's not it at all. Why can't I just express my honest feelings? Keiichi-san surely talks the talk. But how do you actually intend to bring down the bear? Rena and Tomitake-san did make it tilt a bit, but I think finishing the job will be difficult. Keiichi-kun. If only there was some way to shoot faster, I'd be able to pile more power on the sway from each hit. Good luck, Keiichi-kun. After taking 2 deep breaths, I shouted over to the guy. 2 more rifles! Huh? The crowd murmured amongst themselves. Yeah, he said he only can shoot 3 shots, so you'll just shoot 3 at once. I wonder what Keiichi-san is up to. One person can't handle 3 rifles at once. I get it. Nice thinking, Kei-chan. Mion was able to figure it out magnificently. Basically, what was taking the most time was reloading the shot. That's right. Then, by putting 3 preloaded rifles next to each other, Tomitake-san went silent, peering at me and the bear through his lens. His photographer's blood predicted a miracle will occur. And then the crowd finally picked up on what I was planning. They let out a great cheer. They chanted my name, Keiichi. Rapid fire is the key. If I miss, all is for naught. Phew. After letting out a deep breath, I paused. Relax. Now! That moment felt like time itself had stopped. Felt like I could see the trajectory of the bullets. Hit. And knock it down. The first shot hit the bear on its head. The second. The third! The bear swayed hard. And then... Come on! We did it! We entered God mode! Or this time, Time God mode, and just slowed down time. Ooh, yeah! Ooh. The cheers began before the stuffed bear even finished falling off the shelf. The guy caught it before it hit the ground and tossed it over to me. You actually knocked it over. You got me. Amazing. Congratulations, Keiichi-kun. Keiichi-san has finally learned how to use his head. I see you in a slightly better light now. I didn't do it all by myself. Everyone hit it, and those small bits together brought it down. This trophy belongs to all of us. Right, this is from all of us working together. Me, didn't hit it a single time. Ugh. After holding up the teddy bear like it was a championship trophy, I handed it to Rena. Here, this is from me. No, from everyone. Thanks for always making your delicious lunches. Rena, thinking she was never actually going to get it, was momentarily speechless. I can't, Keiichi-kun. This is everyone's after all. In that case, I was the one who knocked it down. And it's mine. It's mine, so I'm giving it to Rena. I pushed the stuffed animal towards her again. This time she embraced and accepted it. You've watched out for me ever since I moved here, after all. I'm really grateful, you see. Thanks a lot. How? Keiichi-kun, thanks so much. Rena dove at me. Mion told me a few days later that Rena kissed me, but I didn't realize it during all the excitement at the time. I remember what I was trying to say to Tomitake earlier. There really isn't much of anything here. But there are lots of the things you can't find anywhere else. I gained a lot from coming to Hinamizawa, especially at that moment. The crowd's cheers echoed on and on. From the altar set up in front of the shrine, the drum sounded with a booming echo. It was the finale of the festival. I'll be going off ahead then. Ooh, uh-oh. I need to go get myself a good spot too. Well then, everyone, see you in a bit. Both Rika-chan and Tomitake-san gave their farewells and disappeared into the crowd. I wish both of you the best of it in your endeavors. Now, shall we be off? Yeah, might as well go see Rika-chan's charming figure. Let's go. Yeah. Huh? Where's Rena? What are you doing? Keiichi-kun, Mi-chan, save me! Since she was carrying such a ridiculously large stuffed animal, she was being carried by the flow of people. What is she doing? She must have had her hands full taking care of that bear. So I'll leave Rena in your care, Kei-chan. I have my hands full taking care of Satoko. Who would want to be looked after by you, Mion-san? Ouch, please don't pull my arm. Before losing sight of Mion, I grabbed the back of Rena's collar. Keiichi, not there. Don't grab me there. Always so bossy. Where can I grab then? I didn't feel ashamed at all. Rena was ashamed enough for the both of us. I grabbed onto Rena's hand and dashed after Mion and the others. We're gonna be late. Let's hurry up. Yeah. I hadn't realized it. Rena's hand was so delicate. Maybe she needed a bit more exercise and nutrition. That wasn't what I meant. Not at all. My ears burned. I tried to keep calm. I repeated the phrase, "Keep it together, Keiichi Maebara," in my head, but it didn't look like I would be able to anytime soon. I really didn't want Rena to see my face right then, so I pushed onwards, dragging her along without looking back even once. There was already a huge group of people gathered at the altar in front of the shrine. The fire at the altar made it as bright as midday and just as hot. There was a pile of futons warded with sanctified rope in front of the altar. Come to think of it, they did say it was a festival where they did something with the cotton and futons. Keiichi-san! Rena-san! We're over here! Satoko waved her hand from the front row. Sorry. Making our way through the mass of people, we reached the spot they'd saved. How was it? Were you able to have a little bit of excitement with Rena? You punk! So that's what your plan was. Instead of replying, Mion gave us a perverse grin. How was it, Rena? Was Kei-chan's hand bigger than you thought it would be? How? Rena turned bright red, puffs of steam shooting out of her. I heard something slice through the air and turned to see Mion on the ground with a welt on her face. That's just mean. Please don't hurt her. Mion, when were you hit? Between the ha and o of her how, I think. Rena, it's not good to punch your friends to hide your embarrassment. I didn't hit her. Whatever. Thump. The thunderous beat. God damn it. The thunderous beat of the drum echoed, silencing the crowd. You must all be quiet. It's beginning. It was a solemn ritual. Rika-chan entered dressed as a shrine maiden, followed by members of the municipal committee. The elders all looked at Rika-chan and clasped their hands in praise. The only thing allowed to disturb the profound silence was the flash from Tomitake-san's camera. What's the big thing Rika-chan is holding? Oh, that's used for this festival. It's a sacred farming tool that only the shrine maiden may touch. It was an awkward shape for a piece of farming equipment, not uncommon for something used in rituals. After reciting a Shinto prayer, Rika-chan approached the pile of futons gathered at the altar. She swung the hoe skillfully, plowing it into the futons. Each and every little movement in this performance probably had to be done in a certain way. Without a doubt, this was a ritual. What's next? Airing out futons? She's purifying futons that absorbed illnesses from people over the winter. So when Kei-chan said airing out futons, he wasn't completely wrong. Rika-chan's face was already dripping with sweat. That hoe was probably really heavy. She staggered side to side with the momentum of each swing. Satoko looked on, silently lending her support. Worried? Rika practiced every single day with a mochi hammer. She will certainly prevail. Satoko's hands were sweaty, and whenever Rika-chan... God damn it! Whenever Rika-chan started to sway a little, she held her breath. Why wasn't Mion a candidate to be the shrine maiden? Feels wrong having Rika-chan swing around something so heavy. I'd do it if they asked me, you know. And well, it's not something just anyone could do. That's true. Shrine maidens need to be pure after all. Wow! Wow! Mion drove her elbow into my side. That's just rude. With the thud of the big drum, Rika-chan gave a solemn bow and descended from the altar. That triggered a round of generous applause. After the Shinto priests had raised up the cleansed futons with like a portable altar, all the spectators stood up. Following after the priests, we all marched on at a moderate pace. They descended the shrine's giant stairs in a line. What's happening now? Washing the futons in the river? Watanagashi means setting Koften adrift, you know. The procession continued right up to the bank of the stream. A fire was stoked high and it was bright as day here, too. People started crowding around it and clamoring. Alright, get in line. Line up, Keiichi-kun. I wondered what was up. Maybe we'd get some holy wine. Red and white bean buns? It's not food. I said it was cotton. Oh, but of course. They didn't call it the Watanagashi for nothing. Finally understood. The municipal committee members pulled out the cotton from the inside of the futons and balled it up like mochi, handing it out to people. Rena dove into the line and brought out some for me as well. We then proceeded to the bank of the stream. Since it's your first time, Keiichi-kun, just copy what I do. She held the cotton in her right hand and waving her hand as if to purify it, she touched it to her forehead, chest, navel, and both thighs. You do this 3 times and silently give thanks to Oyashiro-sama. Oyashiro-sama? What's that? The name of the shrine's god? Yes, it's the guardian deity of Hinamizawa. It brings both miracles and curses, so you must sure to show your respect. That sounded like a pretty frightening god. But, well, when in Rome. I was officially a resident of Hinamizawa now, after all. Doing as Rena showed me, I touched the cotton over myself 3 times. Thank you, Oyashiro-sama. Thank you, Oyashiro-sama. Oyashiro-sama. This way, all the evil that possesses you is sucked up by the cotton. Then you let it gently drift away on the stream, and you're done. Together, Rena and I set our pieces of cotton afloat on the surface of the water. The flowers of cotton blooming in the water had sucked out all the evil festering in Hinamizawa and drifted off, disappearing into the distance. It was wonderful, like those floating lantern festivals I'd seen on TV. The best part, though, was feeling like this rite of passage had made me a true resident of Hinamizawa. Yeah, to each their own, I guess. I mean, I'm sure that probably isn't, like, you know, the best for the river. But whatever. While staring off into the stream, I somehow got separated from Rena. Wasn't very lonely, though. I know this place now. It's where I live. My home. It's probably better if I just stay here instead of wandering around aimlessly. Someone would surely find me while I was enjoying the evening breeze. I heard a familiar voice. It was Tomitake-san's. I headed towards it. How did it go, Tomitake-san? Were you able to get some good shots? Yeah, fortunately. Tomitake-san was with a girl. I felt like I was intruding. Come on, man, give him some space. Give him some space. Come on, Keiichi, just get out of it. How was it, Keiichi-kun? Did you enjoy the festival? From the way she spoke, it seemed like she was a resident of Hinamizawa. Really should try harder to remember people's faces here. What was her name? Oh, well, yeah, it was fun. My face must have given away how desperately I was trying to remember her name, because she gave a light-hearted chuckle. It's probably because it hasn't been long since you moved here. It's pretty hard to believe seeing how friendly you've gotten with the other kids. That's how it looked. It was probably all thanks to Rena and Mion. Perhaps you feel more like a resident of Hinamizawa after taking part in the festival today. I wonder about that. Oh, that's not like you. I had tried to get used to Hinamizawa, but there were still plenty of things I didn't know. The faces of people I'd met, for example. Things that had happened in the past as well. Oh, you're feeling left out because of something like that? It's not so much of a feeling left out. It's just, I'm not sure how to say it. That incident at the dam construction site. The fighting over it and other conflicts. That terrible incident they pretend they didn't even know about whenever I brought it up. Even though it was the past, as someone living in Hinamizawa, it wasn't wrong to want to know about both the good and the bad that had happened here. If it will put you at ease, then I'll tell you everything I know. Tomitake-san's smile made me more relieved than I'd ever been. It was hard to think of what to ask when someone said, "Ask me anything," though. Even when there was so much I wanted to ask. Then, could you tell me about what happened at when the dam was being constructed? It was a big incident where Hinamizawa was going to be submerged, right? I think the locals would be more knowledgeable about the dam than I am. If you don't mind, I'll tell you what I know. It's only what I read in the newspaper, though. Tomitake-san entered into an unfocused gaze as he searched through his memory when he spoke. The decision to start the dam project was finished 7 or 8 years ago. I heard it was the next major project after Kurobe. There were three major issues in Japan at that time. Improving inter-island transportation infrastructure. Ugh, God, that was bad. Jesus. Meeting the higher demand for electricity and flood control. There was a boom of dam building due to the massive economic stimulus they provided on top of generating electricity and flood control. Hinamizawa had the right conditions to support a dam construction, so it was singled out. The dam reservoir would have covered quite a bit of ground when it was completed. The entire area right up to Yagoichi, way upstream, would be underwater. But why did they have to pick a populated area like Hinamizawa? Couldn't they have instead picked a place where nobody lived? Not really sure why, but I heard that it was just the right terrain for building a dam. Of course, there were protests here in Hinamizawa. Keiichi had said that there was a battle. From what choice of words I had to guess, things had turned violent. There was a trial, and it was even brought up before the National Diet. It was covered in Tokyo newspapers, too. Mion had told me about all that as well. I'm sure every resident of Hinamizawa had united to fight together. The feeling of solidarity found her here, which could not be expressed properly with mere words, was likely brought about by that battle. As a result, bribery and scandals were brought to light. As things got more and more complicated, they eventually halted construction. If I wanted to know, how was my only chance to ask? It was certainly a bizarre incident that boys my age would be curious about. I felt a bit ashamed for the fact I was petty enough to have my curiosity quibbed by Rina and Mion's refusal to talk about the event. But I figured I might as well ask since I had the chance. Just so I would stop thinking about it so much. So, there was a dismemberment, right? There was. I happened to be here in Hinamizawa at the time, so I remember it well. Tomitake-san's answer was nonchalant in contrast to my hesitantly forced-out question. It was about this time 4 years ago. It was the day of the Watanagashi, if I recall correctly. Debate on whether to continue construction on the dam was in disarray. Scandal after scandal rocked the project near the end. The incident that was the final nail in the coffin for the dam project. A fight at the dam construction site ended up in the victim being murdered. Fearing prosecution, the 6 assailants divided the remains into 6 pieces and each hid one. 5 of the 6 criminals turned themselves in out of guilt, but 1 was still on the run. The right arm he'd hidden had yet to be found. Major details lined up with what was in the tabloid I'd read earlier. Certainly was a tragic incident, but it wasn't so terrible that Rina and Mion needed to hide it from me. Guess they didn't want someone who just moved here to have a negative impression of Hinamizawa. I felt grateful for having friends who worried so much about me, as well as shame for still being so interested in it. It was near the end of all that trouble with the dam, you see. So everyone was saying that it was Oyashiro-sama's curse. Oyashiro-sama's curse, huh? Oyashiro-sama was the name of the god at the shrine that had held the festival today, if I recalled correctly. I see. Their guardian deity rained divine punishment down on the evil dam construction for trying to flood Hinamizawa. Apparently the younger ones didn't think so. But it seems the elderly in the village never doubted that it was Oyashiro-sama's curse. The woman with Tomitake-sama said with a mischievous chuckle. Tomitake-san began laughing with her. It was so infectious I ended up laughing as well. But I wonder about now. There are quite a few, I think. Amongst the youth, too. Few what? People who believe in Oyashiro-sama's curse. The woman's lips were still curled into a smile, but her expression turned stern. And after that, it continued every year. Always around this time. Continued? What continued? Tomitake-san paused for a second as if to build up some suspense. Then he whispered to me, as if someone might have been listening. Every year on the day of the Watanagashi, somebody dies. Oh, fuck me, why did you tell me that tonight? God damn it. I'm gonna die tonight, aren't I? Fuck you. The year following the dismemberment, on the day of the Watanagashi, a man from Hinamizawa who had supported that dam fell off a cliff overlooking some rapids and died while he was on vacation. Unfortunately for his wife, the body was never recovered. He supported the dam construction even though he lived in Hinamizawa? At the time, there were whispers amongst the elderly saying it was Elder Oyashiro-sama's curse. The woman chuckled mischievously again. Damn it, that was her talking. Fuck. Then the next year, the night on the Watanagashi, the shrine's Shinto priest died suddenly from an unknown illness. His wife drowned herself in the bog that night. Shrine's Shinto priest? You mean he was from the shrine here? The woman nodded. There was a rumor amongst the villagers that they weren't able to quell Oyashiro-sama's anger. Then the year after that, again on the night of the Watanagashi, they discovered the battered body of a local housewife. Up until now, all the mysterious deaths were people involved with the dam or who had connections with the Oyashiro-sama's curse. With that in mind, could the housewife have been involved in some way too? Exactly, the woman stated slyly, that was more menacingly. One of the victim's relatives, you see, was connected to the younger brother of the dam supporter who fell to his death 2 years before. The younger brother is still alive, it seems, but it did bother him quite a bit, so he moved to the neighboring town. Creepy. For a while I stood there with my mouth agape. The battle over the dam construction with Hinamizawa's future at stake, and the murder at the center of it all. That was all I knew, and there was all I wanted to ask about. But that wasn't all that there was to the story. Homicide, body disposal, accidental deaths, terminal illness, suicide, fatal beatings. I'm a pretty level-headed person. I don't really want to believe in curses. But the freakish deaths happened every year on the day of Watanagashi, and all of them were related to the dam construction. It was easy to dismiss each of them as coincidences by themselves. But when you put them all together, dismissing all of them as coincidence would then defy logic. I don't believe in curses. But every single year on the day of the Watanagashi, somebody or something makes it happen without fail? The woman chuckled again, as if she was picking up on what I was thinking. Felt like she was saying, maybe there was, maybe we frightened him, stuff like that. Felt embarrassed at being read so easily. I pressed Tomitake-san to continue a bit of impatience and irritation in my tone. Then... So someone died the next year, right? Who was it that time? I wonder, who do you think, Keiichi-kun? The hell? The way he said it didn't agree with me. The sarcastic tone ticked me off. Don't avoid the question. I'm serious here. Hey, calm down, Keiichi-kun. I realized when she tried to calm me down that I had been panicked. Damn it, it was her. We aren't trying to avoid the question, Keiichi-kun. It's just, when you say the next year, that's today. When she hesitated to say it, Tomitake-san finished for her. I broke into a cold sweat. I really didn't like the direction this was headed. Nobody wants to speak of it, but they all think it's going to happen again tonight. The festival was so cheerful, though. Well, the victim last year was the housewife. She was a non-believer. Turns out she didn't even attend the Watanagashi festival. There was a rumor going around that if you didn't participate in the festival, you would incur Oyashiro-sama's wrath. Didn't you hear anything about this, Keiichi-kun? I never even heard a whisper of that rumor. Then the reason everyone was at the festival was they were afraid of the curse? I figured that must have been the reason. There were a lot more people at the Watanagashi than usual. I guess everyone was just afraid after all. Of Oyashiro-sama's curse. I couldn't utter a single word. In this modern age, where we've made progress in all scientific fields shedding light on the unknown and misunderstood, where black and white television has been eradicated if we sent men to the moon, even with all of our accomplishments, this can exist in modern society? God, this is getting weird. Weird as shit. Tons of invitations were sent into the neighboring towns. Youth groups helped it pad the numbers. But after that string of events, few decided to join. The municipal committee members were complaining about how hard it was to gather participants. Also, the police are threatening treating each case as isolated. They don't believe they're connected. They're trying to keep it quiet, so it's all plainclothes officers. It really began to dawn on me why Rena and Mion were reluctant to talk. Nothing happened during this Watanagashi, everything would have been over with, and I'd been none the wiser. If nothing happened, all would be well. In that case, it would all end up being just crazy talk. I should have just pretended like I knew nothing from the beginning. Then they wouldn't have had to act like nothing happened. And we would have all gotten back to life as usual. Maybe it's just too much for him after all. The woman ran her fingers through her hair as she sighed. No, it wasn't. No, not at all. Tried to act strong, but that just served to emphasize how much the information had unsettled me. After seeing how I looked, Tomitake-san appeared to regret saying anything. Letting out a sigh, he then spoke, forcing an awkward upbeat demeanor. Keiichi-kun, surely you don't believe in such things as curses. Well, no. If the causes of all the crimes were unknown, with their perpetrators and their methods all mysterious, then I would think it's the work of a curse. But that's not how things are in reality. The police are investigating the evidence and suspects to uncover the truth. Hearing him say police made me feel a lot better. It was perfect for repelling the word curse. The first one, that's dismemberment, for example. I told you, didn't I? All but one of the perpetrators were arrested. It's only a matter of time for the last one. The motive turned out to have been an argument they had while intoxicated. That's no curse. Don't you agree? That was true. If it didn't happen on the day of the Watanagashi, then I wouldn't think it was related to the curse at all. The accidental death of the man who supported the dam was the same. He was in a position that made others hate him. The police made a point of investigating from that angle. They concluded it was an accident, not foul play. But they both happened on the day of the festival, right? Just think about it, Keiichi-kun. Do you think people with a lot of enemies here in Hinamizawa could participate easily in a local festival? It would be especially hard for them to be around during the Watanagashi. So they probably left Hinamizawa intentionally around this time of year to travel, don't you think? It wasn't a very clear explanation, but I sort of understood what Tomitake-san was getting at. God, I really wish they gave me an indication of who was talking. I kind of just have to guess. Which I guess that's like one of the major flaws I have with this. That they don't tell you who the hell is even talking. But whatever. So I pressed on earnestly, asking more questions so that I could convince myself. Then, Tomitake-san, what about the priest who died after that? The one with the unknown illness. Had also happened on the day of the festival. It's an even easier to explain what happened to the Shinto priest. The Watanagashi is a really big event that happens once a year. It was probably from all the built-up stress. Or it may have been because of a pre-existing condition. But it was an unknown illness. It's hard to believe something with an unknown cause could exist with our advances in medicine. It's just an exaggeration. Rumors making rumors. Anyone would get worked up over having incidents happen 2 years in a row. The sudden death is quite unnatural, though. Of course, the police ordered an autopsy because of the strange way he died. But there wasn't enough for them to open a full investigation, you know. Turns out it was just a sudden death due to the illness. The priest's wife committed suicide, correct? What about that? I believe I already explained that too. Everyone was shaken up by the incidents happening for a third year. Those who are of strong faith were quick to believe it was the work of the curse. Of course, that included the priest's wife. Apparently, they found a suicide note that said something like, "My death will quell Oyashiro-sama's anger." Well then, how about the next incident with the housewife? That happened on the day of the Watanagashi too. The perpetrator had already been caught and the case had been closed. Turns out it was just some nutjob trying to continue the legacy of the Hinamizawa curse. Then, how about the incident the next year? Oh yeah, this year is the next year. Tometake-san gave a hearty laugh. Nothing will happen. Not this year. There was never a curse to begin with. It's just that a group of people believed it was the explanation for a string of coincidences. My internal computer finally got itself back on track. I felt a bit embarrassed about how childish I had become after losing control and panicking. I don't know, that's a lot of fucking coincidences. I don't know, it just seems way too convenient of all these things. I guess we'll see tonight. Oh no. I hope I don't die. I mean, I'm not connected to the damn construction, so it won't matter, I can't die. Well, it's not that I can't die, I just probably won't die. Because I don't have any connection to it.